This episode of the Game Over Greggy Show is brought to you by Casper. Casper is an online retailer of premium mattresses for a fraction of the cost. Casper is revolutionizing the mattress industry by cutting the cost of dealing with resellers and showrooms and passing the savings directly onto you, the consumer. Get a Casper mattress for $500 for a twin or $950 for a king-size mattress. Comparing this to industry averages, that's an outstanding price point. It's great. Don't worry about it. And you can save an additional $50 towards your mattress purchase by going to casper.com/GameOvergreggy and entering the code GameOvergreggy. Again, casper.com/GameOvergreggy. Enter the promo code GameOvergreggy. Terms and conditions apply. Nick, you're in rare form today. What's your topic?
Jetpacks.
It's like a 7-year-old's like Game Over Greggy show. Dinosaurs and jetpacks.
Jetpacks. So I saw this story.
Is it really?
Oh yeah, it's jetpacks. I saw this story like a half a month ago, and I was like, "Oh holy shit, I want one of these." Golfer named Bubba Watson. Are you guys all familiar with him?
No, but I like the name.
Is part of this is helping to prototype this. It's made by Oakley.
The fuck?
It is a portable jetpack golf cart.
Do we have videos of it?
Oh yeah.
Do you want to read the article so everybody gets brought to speed? Then we can watch the video. Kevin can do the thing like when the girl blew the grapefruit.
Can you guys watch it muted?
Sure. The humble golf cart is now very sleek. Is not very slick, but it gets the job done. So is there a better way to get from tee to green? In 2013, pro golfer Bubba Watson, along with Oakley and Neoteric Hovercraft, posted that question with the golf cart hovercraft, which is also awesome, but that's not what we're talking about.
What?
That's a golf cart hovercraft that they made first.
Oh.
Now, with the help of Martin Aircraft, the team has taken to the skies with the golf cart jetpack. Okay. Based on Martin's current pre-production prototypes, the golf cart jetpack can fly as high as 3,000 feet.
What the fuck?
And as fast as 46 miles per hour, thanks to a 210 horsepower engine powering 2 duct fans. So basically, it's a standard Martin jetpack with some extra space for clubs and sand bottles. As fun as it would be to get a bird's eye view of the course and watch your golf buddies shoot from on high, practical considerations must keep this concept on the ground. Bubba insists the jetpack will speed up play, but in the time it takes to strap it, fly down the fairway, land and take your shots, your friends who can't join you in the single pilot craft could well be holes ahead of you. Yada, yada, yada. Basically, the long and short of this is they're prototyping this. He's kind of the figurehead for it. Each one of them costs $200,000.
Okay.
Which might sound
Patreon
steep until you see this damn thing in action.
All right.
He just... It's muted.
It's okay, bud. We like you looking out for the show. Thank you. Here we go. And Kevin's gonna put this in here, so it's down here somewhere.
Go suck a dick, regular golf cart.
Why does it need to go to 3,000 feet?
That's
though?
so awesome that it goes 3,000 feet in the
I feel
air.
like you're gonna
not?
break the switch and just keep going. Bubba, you don't need to go 3,000 feet in the air.
Bubba has a pink driver, but he can do whatever the hell he wants.
That's true.
So he's talking here. Let me. There you go. Now I should also say you need a pilot's license for this, and you have to be trained on it because it is actually like it's a space vehicle. A space vehicle.
It is
an actual plane,
vehicle,
so
yes.
we have to be able to have. So he's the only person that could pilot it right now. It's pilot Mike Reed. Bubba can't actually pilot yet, but he's taking courses apparently.
This is dope as fuck.
Isn't that amazing?
I just want it. So pretty much, as just drone technology got to the point where they're like, all right, when we were little kids, we dreamt of being able to fly things and that actually be cool. Now we hit that point, and now like, what if we put ourselves on that thing?
I mean, that's my question to you guys is looking at this. And then not obviously for long rides, but like to get around San Francisco.
100%.
Would you get one of these?
100%. I mean, like the problem is that once it became, we'd have the same congestion in the air, and then I'd be worried about other jetpack riders. Now Kevin's shaking his head.
Well, you have you just put that chip that you have in cars that like auto steers for you, so like it'll ping theirs, and then it pings you, and you guys stay away from each other.
Okay, that's fine.
Of course, granted, if your car breaks down, you're not going to fall from 3,000 feet.
Yeah, I don't. That's the thing. I would never get up to 3,000.
But you don't have to go that high either.
Yeah.
You go like 15 feet above the air, 20, just above the cars.
We got, but even above the cars, there's so many wires across the streets in San Francisco. You got to go above those too.
30, 40 feet then.
And then you're so close to the face of God. Why not reach out and touch it? Just get as high as you can. drink a bit, get a little higher.
Dude, 3,000 feet
It's high.
is twice as high as the Freedom Tower
But
in New York
look
City.
how fucking cool
That's how
that is.
high you can go in that thing.
Yeah,
Why
it's
would
cool.
you ever go that high?
I would be fine with it because I would be
I
like,
love
okay,
that.
here's the deal.
Fantastic.
Go that high, make people go that high, and then if a malfunction happens, everything has parachutes. You just kind of strap off, parachute, it parachutes, you're good. It's fine.
It parachutes. The fiery wreckage.
Why is it fiery? Did a missile hit it?
I mean, what? How else is it going to break? One of the
I
turbines
think
goes
the turbine
down.
just goes down and you go in a circle over and over all the way down to the ground.
It's like a helicopter.
So what? I'm really intrigued by this. So why are they like golf carts? That's the one place that we have all the fucking room in the world to drive around. We already have a vehicle made just for this.
You want to know why? Inconspicuous. This seems like a luxury item for old rich white guys. Clearly the military's behind this. Clearly this has got nefarious purposes. And they're like, we'll just put it there and we'll put a guy named fucking Bubba in it. And everybody's gonna be like, oh, what a cute thing.
Bubba.
Next thing you know, fucking Vita and the secret police here, Lola coming in, they're getting you, they're coming in jetpacks.
Yeah, man, that sounds. It's because
Oh no!
I feel like this is a huge step forward for jetpacks because the
I think so.
last we saw of jetpack was
Rocketeer.
the water jetpack.
Oh, those are
thing.
sweet.
But is that even count as
are
a
amazing.
jetpack?
I don't know. It's gotten some real good videos.
No, the jet.
Kevin, can you find me that video?
The water jetpack thingamajig is fine.
I mean, I don't think that's an actual jetpack. That doesn't use jets, right?
Yeah,
Those
so-
are turbines, right?
What you were saying? The first version was called a
Hovercraft.
So the first,
hovercraft?
it wasn't the same version as this. So here's a picture of that.
golf
so
cart
that's-
jetpack.
that's
gives
the-
me-
that's the
It's like a
hover
land speeder.
So it is,
Got it.
but it can go over water,
it.
it can go over sand dunes and things
We
like
need to
that.
get
So it doesn't have,
Tashi
it doesn't
Station.
get, so the virtue of this, of course, is that the golf cart obviously can only do so much. Can't go over water, can't go over sand really well because it just goes up and then goes and then starts falling down. Even though you're like
Hoverpacks of water.
the only cool thing about the golf cart is that you can reenact the scene from Navy SEALs where they're playing polo in the golf carts, really drunk.
Oh yeah.
Remember that scene?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
Seminal scene.
Okay.
golf cart jetpack gives new meaning to a birdie.
Yep.
It's well done. It's well done.
I have to
Atlas.com.
imagine that, Oakley is just kind of like throwing some money toward this because it's a fun sort of R&D project that they probably won't ever realize. But I don't know. Maybe they're going to try to go to consumer with this. It doesn't.
It's like every other technology. It'll get smaller, simpler.
I think so.
That'd
Yeah.
be the
But I
thing.
mean,
I'm pretty
get
impressed
much
by
smaller
how
than that.
small and
Yeah.
simple looking it is.
have you actually ever heard a jetpack? Like seen anyone land on a jetpack?
No,
So I think it was 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah, they're real things.
They're loud as fuck.
They're so fucking loud.
Kevin wanted it muted, remember? And now he's getting now.
How did
Paul
you-
is doing
how
so
did
now
Android
it's
is
a
the
camera.
worst. Just
What
at
did
least
you
we got
do?
a 3-second.
I think it was like maybe it was like 6-7 years ago at E3. I think I went to an event where they had someone land, like a stormtrooper land a jetpack, and it was so fucking loud that like you couldn't hear anything. It was ridiculous.
What's going on? Now this guy's jetpacking by the Statue of Liberty.
But like, that's a jetpack. It's a little nice.
Yeah, that's a
compact, Shoots
jetpack.
fucking jets of hot
So is
air.
it? So is it fire? So what's the water jetpack?
That shoots water.
Yeah, it's,
I understand that,
Yeah.
but is that a jetpack by definition?
No.
I mean, it might
know.
be using water jets.
maybe
with the water
you're
out.
right. I'm not. No.
I mean, it's kind of terrifying to
so
see
funny.
this. See
Someone's
this
gotta-
jetpack man fly past the Statue of Liberty.
Is no one dressed as Boba Fett yet and done one of these? I
Oh
mean,
no,
it's-
that's all
I
they
was
do.
saying, so you're
Although
thinking
every
Boba
water
Fett.
one I see, I swear 1 out of every 3 of them they're in a
Okay,
Boba
I was
Fett
thinking
outfit.
those little personal pods the Cobras used to have.
Oh
Remember
yeah,
those
yeah,
things?
yeah, of course, from the G.I. Joe
those-
movie.
Yeah, those
That,
are
yeah,
bomb.
that reminds me of the G.I. Joe movie opening when it's jetpacking up the
Crimson
Statue of
Guard
Liberty.
for
freedom,
punch in the
wherever
gut.
there's trouble.
Oh my god! So
Yeah.
the water ones are great because there's this video we were watching recently of this guy, a newscaster. When things are on the news, you know it's about to be bad. He's like, "We're here and we're talking about the new water jetpacks. Come see what it's all about next." He takes off and goes right into the water. It's just like,
Why do they air this shit when there's always this embarrassing shit happens?
He's in live
to you?
bumps.
It's like the
Live
woman,
bumps.
the classic footage of the woman stomping grapes.
Yeah.
and falls. It's like, why is this on TV?
It's too late. They do all the live
That
stand-ups,
was like
man.
pre YouTube too. That one was making the rounds.
Yeah.
oh my god.
It was like
So,
E-Bomb's
yeah.
world.
So what do we think the future of jetpacks are, Nick?
I'm usually a late adopter, and I think I probably would be for this as well.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd get the first one off the production line by any stretch of the imagination. But for city living, if you could land on the top of buildings, I think
Sure.
that'd be pretty cool. I mean, it would definitely solve. Look at your parking would be the entire city.
Well, are we looking at the wet jet guy? That's awesome. That's awesome.
You're like, God bless people that are like, that's awesome. I got to get that on the internet ASAP.
Yeah, I know the people who are just watching their local news and they're just like ready to capture anything or put it up or record it and get it out. Love it.
Oh my God.
Love it.
Jetpacks.
Big Kev dog.
The local news. The local news is kind of an absurd thing.
It sucks. I hate the
kind
local
of weird
news.
where they try to make this like local, it make like a culture. Kevin and I were driving the other day, and they were introducing the new local newscaster for K-Ron or Kron or whatever the hell.
Kron 4.
Kron 4. And they're like, he's a San Francisco native. He grew up here. And then they cut to a soundbite of him. He's like, I grew up right there. And then it cuts back, and it's like, I'm like, this is what is the point of this? Are we trying?
So
to,
you know him, so you feel like a local. One of your boys has made it, and he knows the city he's going to report on.
who the fuck is watching the local news? Like,
Someone is,
Older
because
people?
I watch the local news every once in a while when it's just on, and I'm like, inevitably in the next 10 minutes I'm gonna laugh at some point, like because it's so bad. Like I don't give a fuck about anything you're saying. Nothing that you're saying is relevant to me.
Big Kev dog's got to drop in.
Big Kev dog.
So I recently lost CNN. Like I no longer have CNN, the
Sure.
channel.
okay.
So this morning I was watching local news,
Ugh.
and it sucks. But it was
Why don't you watch it in the
Kron.
morning? Why don't you watch MSNBC's pretty good in the morning? Morning Joe.
what channel is that? I don't have any of those higher.
787.
I don't have any of those higher.
How do you not have?
Because I just
CNN
switched.
isn't that a basic cable?
I switched plans because like it was way cheaper, and I now have like double the speed, but I lose like the higher
can
end.
read it all on-
it doesn't matter.
online.
But that commercial was on, and he was pointing at his house from his like childhood.
I'm like,
And it was like,
we
oh,
believe
shit.
you, and we don't care. We don't care if you grew up here or
First
not.
of all, we
It's
can't
really,
substantiate this anyway.
yeah, but it's not. It's not in any way, shape, or form relevant at all that you are a local, that you grew up here.
I'm
really.
saying
But
on the
again,
radio.
it's a local boy made good. You don't understand. Like, it's a cutthroat world being a TV reporter. You start in the smaller markets. So to get to a market like San Francisco, get to be an anchor on it. I don't know exactly what you're talking about. There's a lot of steps, let alone to come back to where you're from. A lot of people are transplants. They go there and they just start reporting on wherever they get the job.
Would it surprise you to know that I used to watch the Weather Channel for fun?
Not even a little
in the
bit.
late 80s and early 90s,
Nope.
I really enjoyed the Weather Channel a lot.
Yeah.
Told me a lot about geography.
See, and my question for the local news is that
Not
I
surprised
guess
by
you're
that.
talking about San Francisco. Like I grew up watching the local news in Chicago. Fox 32, Walter Jacobson, Robin Robinson.
Yeah,
what
but that's
up?
because you
Bob
wanted to do
Surratt,
shit
Marianne
like that.
Murciano in the morning. Fuck
You
yeah,
had
Fox
an
thing in the
invested
morning.
interest. For me, I could never understand that because you watch the shit and you're like, who is the audience for this? And then I remember it's all these people just want to feel good about talking about something, so they're like, I'm going to report on a story. This is what's going to get me to a real story. And when I went to college at SF State for video production stuff, I was one of the few people there that's not trying to be a news anchor, which is kind of ironic for what I ended up doing. Not that this is news.
We're delivering
but
the
I mean,
news right now.
I'm the one. I'm on camera doing this type of stuff. All those other motherfuckers. There's maybe like 2 of them that made it, and they're covering news in like
Poughkeepsie.
weird, like Marin County, like cities that I've never even heard of, and like they're calling it San Francisco local news, and it's like that's not at all. And so I'm like, they can't even point at their house and say I grew up there. They have to stand there and be like, I grew up
I'm a
across
Bay
the
Area-
yeah. And
I'm
it's
a
just like,
Bay
oh
Area
my god!
native.
And like, every time they post stuff on Facebook, I'm just looking at this shit and I'm just like, this is what you're doing with your life. You're standing out there talking about how this local bicycle shop is going to help people.
That's not bad though. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. It's
not
not
relevant.
like breaking news, but there's people who care about that and want to know about the local
It's
business.
more entertainment, though. Wouldn't you say?
Sure, but it's
that's the
it's a
problem.
window into your local community.
Sure. I mean, that's true. My wife reads I guess the Marina Times or whatever. It's some sort of like local paper that's just about our neighborhood. And she loves reading it because it actually
Collar
informs
still
you
popped.
onto like what shops are closing, what shops are coming in, and spoilers. the
This
only place
yoga
that can
shop
actually
closed. This yoga shop opened.
Yeah, exactly. Well, most of the only shops that can actually afford to be here is like Nike and like
Sure.
the big conglomerates. But I get that, but I just think it's like that whole thing is just such a relic of a bygone era, right?
100%.
Where they all dress in the suits and they have the makeup on, and then when it's more of a casual thing, they just take the blazer off and maybe roll up the sleeves.
Sure.
Still have the tie though, because you still have to have an air of professionalism, right? And they talk in that voice. Tell me about this thing that you're talking to me about. That sounds great. Back to you, Jan. And then there's always the fucking 3-second delay.
I hate that shit.
Yeah, that shit's awkward as hell.
But I'll tell you what, man, you get attached to these people, especially in your local market, and then when you get to see them national, my boy Lester Holt, you talk Chicago's own Lester Holt, who talked to Dad down on the crane site. Oh, that was a big day. If I'm lying, I'm dying.
Says the person who has
Big Greg Miller comes
80
home.
times the social following. You were probably 80 times more more popular than.
But it's not a popularity thing. You trusted Lester Holt, and then he had this bomb ass mustache. You would have loved it forever.
You can get a good mustache.
Then he shaved it though. He had like the Viltrumite mustache.
Oh, really?
Then he shaved it when he went national with MSNBC.
Lester Holt was the dude. I will tell you two things. Number one, we have a weatherman in New York who goes by the name only of Mr. G.
That's awesome.
And you can look up. So it's like
awesome.
It's like Kevin O'Neill, blah blah blah, and Mr. G with the weather, and he's like, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? I've been asking that question for 25 years. On Long Island, we have a thing called News 12. Channel 12 is just this channel, ubiquitous channel on Long Island. It's just 24 hours Long Island news. It's local news for 24 hours a day. And if you want to just lose your mind, just tune in, because my dad doesn't have cable anymore. He only gets like NBC and ABC, and he gets News 12. And I just sat there and watched it for like 15 minutes. I'm like, I can't believe that this channel still exists. And they just are like, over in Syosset, geese are flying from Canada to the. I'm like, and then like 20 minutes later, they're on the same story. I mean, this is fucking. This is awful. This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my goddamn life. The only reason News 12 was relevant for one reason:
snow days,
school closures. Exactly. You go to the fucking News 12 and you got the little school closure kind of thing going on.
That was the best. That was the best lottery in the world. To wake up and it's been snowing out, and you go to Fox thing in the morning, and you look at the little ticker, and you're just waiting.
Yeah, we don't get that shit out here.
Nope.
The only time school was
Earthquake
closed
days.
was 9/11, and that you didn't need local shit for. And that was clear. You
Dude,
know?
the worst thing is, I guess you guys can't relate. The worst thing was, it would be like, I was in South Country School District, so it was so it'd be like, when you get to the end, it'd be like, this school closed, this school closed, this school closed. They're like, South Country School District, 2-hour delay. This school closed, this school. I'm like, fuck. It was like the worst thing. You were like waiting. It was that's so funny that feeling.
I remember it was a big deal when our school finally got big enough to make it on there, because we were private schools forever, so a lot of times they didn't even fucking know. We had phone trees. That was another big way. I remember the preemptive phone tree once we were at basketball practice, and we heard rumors that the phone tree had started because
what the fuck's a phone tree?
You one person or two people, like 5 people start calling 5 people, call 5 people, call 5 people to let them all know.
Your family's like, when my family gets called by mom Y or whatever, we then call 3 other families to inform them that way. And spread it that way. That's how you had to do it back then.
Okay.
But there was one basketball practice where they were like, it's going to be too cold tomorrow. They're closing school. And we're like, what? And then you went home and the phone tree had started. You're like, yes, this is awesome.
Oh, that brings back such a nostalgic feelings for me. Like, sometimes you wouldn't go to school for days at a time or a week at a time because it was getting hammered with snow, especially when I lived in New England. And it was the only thing that was different was Northeastern. They never canceled classes because we had an underground tunnel system that they strategically built you never had to like leave. Like, as long as you were on one side of the campus, you get all the classroom buildings and stuff like that. And I was like, you motherfuckers. Everyone else was like, oh no, because we just get hammered and snow up there.
Yeah.
But also their expectation of snow a little different up there, as well, as you guys learned at PAX.
Yeah,
at PAX
ridiculous.
A lot of pride in a cold environment of Chicago, of Boston, of like, we're going to get through this. It's not that cold. Dad's out there shoveling 6 feet of snow on this acre-long driveway. Do you want to use a snowblower? No, it's not that bad. All right. You're going to die out there, Dad.
Yeah, it's -10. Your dick shrivels up into a little acorn. Trying to walk just to the car.
It's terrible.
Heat it up. Hopefully
sit there and heat it up for 15, 30 minutes. Can't start that thing. That was always the Ford Taurus.
Why do we live in these places?
Poe made fun of it. He made a reference to it because it was on the Chicago days. He'd come over to my house to carpool into school or whatever. We'd get in there, and I always made a joke that it was like Apollo 13, where I didn't have enough amps, but if I turned on things in the right order, it would be okay. So you'd get in there, you'd turn the car on. You then could turn on the heater to get it going. Or no, I'm sorry. You could turn the car on, you could turn on the radio, and then you could turn on the heater. If you turn on the car and you went the heater and then you went the radio, it just killed the car. So you just sat there. You just sat there. Let this fucking thing heat up while you're doing this. You're doing a lot of this. You're maybe making out with POTUS. Man.
This makes no sense to me.
But the way he just explained it, I didn't realize you were talking about heating up the car. I thought you were still talking about your acorn dick.
Oh no, my acorn dick. Your acorn dick's gone. It's lost.
You got to get to the car to heat it up, and I'm like, huh. Like, man, Colin was thinking about the dick. Like, he's just like, I gotta get that thing.
I was thinking about the dick.
Well, let's be honest. If your dick is properly heated, chances are the rest of your body is properly heated, right? There's no situation you can think of where your dick is hot and the rest of you is ice cold. So honestly, if you worry about the tip of your dick, you're probably
thinking the right way.
It's like
you're probably good.
it's like in Batman Begins when he says, "Don't worry about your arms, worry about your dick. The rest of your body will warm up."
That's what he goes. I don't have to save you. Like, oh, you're still kind of fucking burgering.
This is making me very nostalgic. It reminds me of my dad he still has it. This Vermont wood stove. These iron stoves that you like get hand casted. They're really expensive. You have to drive to like Burlington and bring them down. You have to have like 17 people put in the back of your fucking truck. And he would use it. He would buy a bunch of wood, cords of wood, and like use that instead of like my dad like wouldn't use the heat. It was we used to tell the story in a minute. Because we had a thermostat, which is like you had to have. There was a strategy about using it, so my dad would never know until he got the oil bill. But you would risk it anyway. It didn't matter. But he'd put this thing in, and it was in the center of the house, so like it would proliferate around the house pretty nicely. But if you were in the living room, it is so hot, fucking hot in there. I was like, you'd sit there and watch TV. You're like sweating. You're like your underwear, but you look outside, it's like 0 degrees out. But my dad, we used to have this like fucking scheme going on, me and my sister, and then me later when I was by myself after she went to college, where my dad never like hated using the heat. You could never put the heat above 62 or something like that, and it was like a little thing you turned or whatever, and so we would do it and put it on like 70 or 75. And then when you would hear the garage door open when you come home, and you'd run downstairs. But if you had your music on or like you weren't home or you forgot. Oh, dude, it was over. And he would walk in as a Family Guy that kids around about.
Who's touched the thermostat?
Yeah, and you'd come in and you'd be like, but he'd like go right to the thermostat and be like on 62 or whatever. And he'd be like, it's definitely like 70 degrees in here right now. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We did the same thing growing up in SoCal, but with air conditioning. And air conditioning was really expensive because my parents had. We had a 2-story house, and the air conditioner 2-story house. Was like
so you had that machine like the outside?
Yeah, the outside thing. It would pipe in air, and it wasn't until recently that my parents got a smart air conditioner that had 2 different zones. So you could, if you're upstairs predominantly, it would shut off the downstairs one and vice versa. But my brother and I would literally. My mom was always the worst because she would swear to God that it's freezing in the house, and it is. I mean, it's like 95 degrees, and she is like, it's cold, and I'm like, you don't even believe that. You're fucking lying to me right now. So my brother and I would always, when they'd go out of town, it would be a fucking icebox in that place. Like you could see your breath in front of you. And then we would go outside, party, and just leave it on. And my mom would come back and it'd be like a $700 bill. And we're like, we don't know what happened.
Don't know why you're trying to rinse your family
Can't
here.
prove it was us. The snow days I don't know about, but the smog alerts we used to have a lot. So we'd have. I
don't know what a smog alert is.
Growing up in Southern California.
I know what smog is.
We'd have smog alerts. Because the smog would be too thick, and so you wouldn't be allowed to go outside. And
really?
Mm-hmm. You would have to just sit. You have to sit. You weren't allowed to like run around because apparently it was supposed to be bad for your lungs. That's where I grew up. But you would see it. I mean, you'd look outside and try to take bets on whether or not they were going to. No one fucking cared. We all did it anyway. But well, not me because I was fat. But the people who actually liked physical exertion would go out there and do it. I'd be like, dope, whatever.
This doesn't change my plans one way or the other.
Not an excuse to just stay inside.
This is what I was going to do.
I'm like, is this going to rot the Twinkie in my hand? And then fuck it. All right. But that's interesting. But I would still gladly. I still just for the life of me don't understand why people willingly choose to live in the snow. It doesn't make any sense. It's God's way of telling you don't live here.
It's the same way with the
stay
heat,
away
though.
from here. That's
like
true too.
People in Phoenix, you're like, what the hell's wrong with you? What are you doing?
I know it's dumb. We should all be living probably in a much more habitable environment.
San Francisco.
Probably San
Francisco
yeah.
does have the most like. That's the weather.
So
this is what you're
awesome.
gonna get.
So
Don't worry about
awesome.
it. It's not gonna fluctuate too much. Off of this.
I mean, I'm trying to think if there was anything that schools would stop for.
Earthquake Day,
No, earthquakes would happen.
Rice-A-Roni Day,
and we're just kind of here.
Do you remember like the earthquake drills where it's
Yeah,
like
I'm
ding,
sure you guys did.
and you're like, all
That was the
right,
thing in
go under
school.
the desk.
They had to teach us like
Hold
you know how
yourself.
everyone has fire drills.
Yeah.
They would do earthquake drills like once a month where everyone had to get under a desk or in between the door things. And it was
Yeah.
just so disruptive.
ours
But-
were tornado drills. Yeah,
Which is-
go out of your classroom, get in front of your locker, and then get down in a ball and cover your head. Because kiss your ass goodbye. It's fucking over if
It's
a tornado
over.
rolls
Do you
through.
have to like lasso yourself to a pipe?
No,
Like
that's
they
what
did
I
in
always thought.
Twister?
I thought there was so many, easier ways to do
Should have
this.
safety latches. You could just like latch on like they do when you're out in space. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly.
You're like
exactly.
working on
Yeah,
the
you're
latch
doing
on.
an EVA
Yeah,
socket.
yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, all that's bullshit. You know that, right? Like,
Oh, absolutely.
they were like, going. They don't. I don't think they even teach kids to do that anymore.
Here's the thing.
The doorway thing
This
is like the
IKEA
stupidest thing on
table,
the planet.
this table,
Not-
you think this is going to fucking save us from an
No.
earthquake? I guarantee you, the shit at Sutro Elementary School ain't helping anybody. Those little pieces of flimsy ass plastic, get
Right.
out of here. Yeah, right.
Just to make you feel better. It's like our parents used to tell the story about the nuclear drills
Yeah.
where it's like,
Get
you
on
get
your
on your
desk.
desk. It's like, are you fucking nuts? It's a goddamn sun exploding outside. I think we're dead.
Yeah, I think we're
It doesn't
dead.
matter if we're hiding underneath.
Sure, ask goodbye. Supposedly, and this could be old as well because I think I heard it about 5-6 years ago. But supposedly, the best thing to do is to get near something that's strong.
For
So that-
what are we talking about now?
Earthquakes.
Thank you.
So that because I guess they looked at a bunch of buildings that had collapsed and they noticed triangles constantly. So like when the roof top collapses, it hits and then it'll get stuck on something that's strong and it'll make a triangle. And if
Sure.
you're right here, if you're in the middle of it, you can actually
Yeah.
survive. So they say get close to your bed because a mattress can actually take a fair load of weight and still teeter. I mean, you're still stuck in this small area, but you're gonna live.
Well, that's-
but don't get near your fucking.
Sure.
Like you're just gonna get jammed finger if you go into your door.
Yeah, the tornadoes, if you're at home and it's fucking bearing down on you, the deal is you're supposed to grab the mattress and go lay in the bathtub.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Use
hilarious.
the mattress.
What if you have a king size?
Use the mattress to cover. Yeah, well.
That's smart though.
Yeah.
Because then you're not getting hit by glass.
There was
and
only
rubble.
one where my mom was like, go get in the bathtub. This might be the one. I was like, god damn it. Walk over there.
Yeah, that
take the
sounds
cat.
horrifying.
Get in the bath. Oh, yeah, but dude, tornadoes
Get
were
your Dixie
terrifying.
cups and you dumped your drawer full of action figures into the bath.
I remember when we were like, it was like, I was talking to you earlier on one of the shows about like when my parents like obsessed with going out to the country for whatever, and there's
Yeah.
always a tornado, there's always some severe weather, whatever. It all comes during the summer, so we would do that thing where like I did a day camp or whatever, right? Where arts and crafts and you go to the pool every day. It was mainly like a supervised thing to the pool every day, but like all right, go to this water park. All right, cool. And you go, and I remember this fucking tornado warning comes in. And it's like in the burbs of Glen Ellen. I'm growing up here, the burbs of Chicago and Glen Ellen.
Unincorporated Glen.
Unincorporated Glen Ellen. But I would be downtown Glen Ellen for the day camp, right? When the tornado siren goes off, it's like, cool, it's too populated. A tornado's not gonna roll through here. Like we're gonna be okay. It's just gonna be really bad weather, really bad thunderstorm, hail, whatever. You know what I mean? But when you're out in like, hey, we built a water park in the middle of fucking nowhere, that's a real tornado situation. That's a real thing that's gonna get you. And I remember having it, if that one with the sirens go off and like the adults really freaking out of like getting you into the locker room and having you fucking go into the little ball in front of these lockers. Kids just fucking sobbing.
God, that's-
everybody's gonna die.
Yeah, that sounds scary as all
And
shit.
then it doesn't happen. Y'all just get on a bus and go back. You're all like war vets. Like you've seen so much shit out there.
I would think
you
that I
ever-
would just sit in the water and then let the thing suck the water away from me, and I'm just bone dry. You know what I mean?
Were you ever in an earthquake? Like a real earthquake, not one of the little tiny ones?
No, I don't remember there ever being one that big. I'm sure there was, but when you grow up in Southern California, it's just doesn't. You just feel earthquakes all the time.
They're
Like,
just like the little tiny things.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
just
all
don't
right,
care.
that was the thing.
They're
There was
like, oh,
only
earthquake,
one.
great.
I mean, I was here obviously for the '89
Mhm.
earthquake, which was crazy, but I was a baby, so I don't remember. My mom acts like it was the scariest thing of all fucking
well, it
time.
was pretty big.
But
Your house, like when you moved out, still had the cracks on
yeah,
it.
my house was like devastated by that shit.
Oh, yeah.
But growing up, I experienced the little ones forever. But then when I was like 14, maybe there was a fairly big one, and I'll never forget. I was in my garage, and all of a sudden, like it was me and my brother were just like playing with our fucking skateboards or whatever, and I just hear noise. I'm like, that sounds like giant dominoes falling. He's like, yeah, it does. It's really weird. And all of a sudden, the noise hit us, and everything was shaking. I'm like, holy shit! Like this is like a fucking scary movie. Like we're gonna fucking die right
That's
now.
freaky.
It was really, really scary. We ran into the middle of the street
That's what.
because
That's
that
what,
felt safest.
Yep, I agree with that. People are always like, "Oh no, you want to get
well, because of the power lines.
Yeah,
you got
fucking-
the,
There's a lot of power lines around.
I'm running into the backyard. That's fine. But the first time I felt an earthquake was like a 5.1 or something when I first moved here in 2000. So not a big one. I mean, you feel it. But I never felt an earthquake before, and I lived in Daly City, and I was like in my underwear in my bed, like playing a game, or I don't know what I was doing, and I like ran up and out into the street like my underwear, and then I realized like without even thinking, like I gotta get out of this house. And then there I was
just, like,
like,
sitting
look
there.
out, yeah, and I'm like just no one's around. It was like
I'm
I
locked out.
lived in the hills
Damn
of
it.
Daly. Earthquakes are creepy. I think I've said this before. I wonder sometimes I just sit, at tranquil moments in time, and I'm like, it could happen right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
anytime.
Like just right
We're
now,
due
no
another big
warning.
one.
There's nothing you can do about
Yeah,
it.
we've been due
It's going to
forever.
happen. It is going to happen. The city is going to fall into the fucking Pacific Ocean one
Well, see,
day.
that was the scary weird thing. They do talk about like trying to make the kids feel safe. They also terrify the goddamn kids. Like you that sounds like a traumatic experience.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And I get that that's trying to protect you or whatever, so that's cool. But so I went to middle school in the marina, And
Oh, that's a bad spot.
all the time they're like, if an earthquake happens, we're gone. It's good. We're just gone. We're gonna sink into the ocean, and we're all gonna be gone. And it's like, don't tell me that. Just let it happen.
Hey, they
The
got
marina,
all right.
the marina is supposed to be legit awful for an earthquake though, because of the sand, the liquefaction of the sand there and stuff like that. Yeah, and it's built on top of the rubble of the 1906 earthquake, which was a bad earthquake. But so I've heard the same thing, that like the marina's finished if there's like a really bad earthquake.
Yeah.
I'm like, good, because I'm there all the time now. So I'm like,
Well, technically, I think
that would be
you're in Cow Hollow.
really.
Because I think anything north or south rather of Lombard is Cow Hollow.
Oh, okay.
The marina starts at Lombard and goes. I think that's all. Technically,
He's
I
gonna
think,
break off at Lombard and float away.
Cool.
I
That's
think
fine.
I think we're all on
Lex
bedrock,
Luthor's
but
New
I could
Island.
be wrong. Don't quote.
That would be
me.
great. Yeah, because that's been as long. I mean, when we used to go to the Comic Club and stuff, people used to talk about, oh, yeah, the marina.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's
fucked
Cow
if there's an
Hollow,
earthquake.
actually. But still, I mean, I don't know. I don't really have any.
But they do say, Kev, you probably know about this. I don't know that the there's two kinds of, or there's multiple kinds of earthquakes, but they were saying that there's only an upper limit that they think that an earthquake in San Francisco could have, in like the 7s. They were saying like it can't get much worse than that. But they were because it's either like the subduction. I don't know the terminology. The one earthquake where one goes on top of the other, and the other where they slip, like they get stuck and they slip. Whatever one is like weakest or like they can predict is the one that's up here. And they were saying in Southern California, that's where everything's gonna get fucked up. They were like, I was reading about that recently because there's a lot of interesting stuff about, well, two things. One, in Washington and Seattle, they say they're fucked up there because there's a massive. Remember this story made the rounds? Like it was like it was in the New Yorker or something like that a long time ago, where they were like, no one's paying attention that there's like terrible shit going on in the Northwest. And that's like where there's gonna be like an awful earthquake. And they were saying it was along some corridor.
Yeah.
Some
I heard it was
highway
San
where-
Andreas' fault.
They were saying like everything everything west of this corridor of this highway, they're like, it's fucked. Like, and it was a fascinating thing where they were saying they traced this major earthquake that happened there like 1,000 years ago to this huge tsunami that happened in Japan, and they were talking about the investigators that figured out that it was the earthquake there that caused this massive tsunami, and then they did all this like this calculation about how bad it was and like how the earth like dropped and shit like that, like at that point. And the second one is I think it's in Yellowstone, right?
There's one in Southern Illinois that's really bad too.
They're saying there's a mega volcano in one of the national parks, and they're like, if this bad boy goes
The
off,
fuck's a mega volcano?
Basically, all of Yellowstone is a big ass volcano.
and they were just
saw that
saying,
movie.
they were
Happy
saying, like, it
Meals.
seems like it's okay right now, but if this like goes off, like it's probably gonna cause like the United States is the least. They're like, it's gonna be like a nuclear winter.
Yeah.
You know. So
Well, have you ever
we
seen? Have you
a
seen
few trigger points here?
the devastation of Mount St. Helen? Like that is insane.
I saw a documentary on Mount
Dude,
St.
if
Helen,
you
1980.
see it with your eyes, it's fucking nuts, man. It's like it looks like a nuclear bomb went off. It's crazy.
Yeah, I saw Nova about how Nova will be one of my favorite shows. Fantastic show about how the plant life and the animal life started slowly coming back the last few
Interesting.
years. And they were like, when they sent it back, because you're still not allowed to go like around there or whatever,
Yeah.
unless you're like an investigator or a scientist or whatever. And they were going and they were finding like plants kind of making the comeback and all that kind of shit because Mount St. Helens went off.
Fucking nuts.
I think it was 1980.
So, jetpacks.
Oh yeah, how the hell we get
jetpacks. So I
That's how we
want
do it.
one.
No,
I
that's the
I
end.
think
You're
mine
done.
would be carbon fiber, like a black carbon fiber. That'd be dope. And I call it the Super Dragon.
How long was that topic, Kev? Big Kev dog.
Should we make
30
a?
minutes? No, it's 30 minutes.
Okay, great.